Have you ever had night terrors? Do you see the movements of beings out the corner of your eyes? Have you ever spoken words and minutes later it happened? Are you looking for answers? Then seek them here. Creative Inspiration Radio is now on with your host, Alanda Virarjon.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Creative Inspirations Radio, also known as Creative iRadio. I'm your host, the Reverend Alanda Virarjon, and on this episode, we will be discussing spiritualism. It was the latest trend in religion to sweep the planet. It also gave rise to seances and had scientists seeking haunted houses and ghosts. This edition is being brought to you by daymuse.com. If you have questions about the occult, tarot, necromancy, or paranormal, you'll find answers at daymuse.com. Spiritualism gave rise to several churches, and after the 1920s, spiritualism evolved into three different directions, all of which still exist in modern time. Syncretism, which is the first of these, continued the tradition of individual practitioners organized in circles centered on mediums and clients without any hierarchy or dogma. Already by the late 19th century, spiritualism had become increasingly syncretic, a natural development in a movement without central authority or dogma. Today, amongst these unorganized circles, spiritualism is similar to the New Age movement. However, Theosophy, with its inclusion of Eastern religion, astrology, ritual magic, and reincarnation, is an example of a closer precursor to the 20th century New Age movement. Today's syncretic spiritualists are quite heterogeneous in their beliefs regarding issues such as reincarnation or even the existence of God. Some appropriate New Age and neo-pagan beliefs, whilst others call themselves Christian spiritualists, continue with the tradition of cautiously incorporating spiritualist experiences into the Christian faith. Which brings us to Spiritualist Church. The second direction that was taken has been adopted in a formal organization patterned after Christian denominations, which establish liturgies and a set of 7 principles and training requirements for their mediums. In the United States, the spiritualist churches are primarily affiliated either with the National Spiritualist Association of Churches or the loosely allied group of denominations known as the Spiritualist Church Movement. In the United Kingdom, the predominant organization is the Spiritualist National Union, which was founded in 1890. Formal education in spiritualist practice emerged in the 1920s, with organizations like William T. Stead Center in Chicago, Illinois, and they continued with the Arthur Findlay College at Stansted Hall in England, as well as the Morris Pratt Institute in Wisconsin. Diversity of belief amongst organized spiritualists has led to a few schisms, the most notably occurring in the United Kingdom in 1957, between those who held the movement to be a religious sous-joie of its own unique characteristics, and a minority who had held it to be a denomination within Christianity. Well, in the United States, this distinction can be seen between the less Christian National Spiritualist Association of Churches and the more Christian Spiritual Church Movement. The practice of organized spiritualism today resembles that of any other religion, having discarded most showmanship, particularly those elements resembling a conjurer's art. There is much greater emphasis on the mental mediumship and an almost complete avoidance of the apparently miraculous materializing mediumships that so fascinated early believers such as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The first spiritualist church in Australia was the United Stanmore and Inmore Spiritualist Church, which was established in 1913. In 1921, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle gave a farewell to Australia speech there. The last we'll talk about is survivalism. It's the third direction taken and has been a continuation of the empirical orientation of religious phenomenon. Already as early as the 1882, with the founding of the Society for Psychical Research, secular organizations emerged to investigate spiritualist claims. Today, many persons with the empirical approach avoid the label of spiritualism, preferring the term survivalism. Survivalists eschew religion and base their beliefs in the afterlife or phenomenon susceptible to the latest rudimentary scientific investigation, such as mediumship, near-death experience, out-of-body experience, electronic voice phenomena, and reincarnation research. Many survivalists see themselves as an intellectual heir of the spiritualist movement. An example of the modern approach is the work of Professor of Psychology David Fontana, who has written about the subject from a number of points of view. The opposition to spiritualism is Theosophy. Theosophy is in opposition to the spiritualist interpretation of evolution. Theosophy teaches a metaphysical theory of evolution mixed with human devotion, and spiritualists do not accept the devotion of the Theosophists. In Theosophy, humanity starts in a state of perfection, and then it falls into the process of progressive materialization, and finally developing the mind and losing the spiritual consciousness. After the gathering of experience and growth through repeated reincarnations, humanity will regain the original spiritual state, which is now one of self-conscious perfection. Theosophists and spiritualists were both very popular metaphysical schools of thought, especially in the early 20th century, and thus were always clashing in their different beliefs. Madame Blavatsky was critical of spiritualism, as she was a very prominent theosophist. She, however, distanced theosophy from spiritualism as far as she could and allied herself with Eastern occultism. On our next edition, we will be discussing spiritualism's mainstream decline. Visit daymuse.com if you would like to explore the world of spirits. You'll find interesting information on various aspects of the paranormal, preternatural, and the occult, as well as workshops on locating and understanding spirit guides. They also offer a free e-zine that provides tips on ritualistic magic and historical tidbits about the occult, religion, spiritualism, and the paranormal realms. And remember, Daymuse is spelled D-A-E-M-U-S-E. If you have any questions you'd like answered, or you'd like to talk about moon magic and spellcasting, feel free to drop us a line at contact_us@Creative iRadio. That's creative, the letter I, radio, all one word. Until the next time, keep magic in your heart, breathe deep, and exhale your stress back into the universe, and pray for guidance and enlightenment. I'm the Reverend Alonda Virajon, and I shall be speaking with you again soon.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Creative Inspiration Radio with Alonda Virajon. For more information on paranormal, parapsychology, or preternatural phenomenon, visit us on the web at www.daymuse.com. That's DAEMUSE.com, and take part in one of our informative workshops. Also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Creative iRadio. Until next time, pleasant thoughts and abundance.